No, you should have waited.
Oh, well, you can do yours.
Okay.
Woo! Cheers. Buttheads. Delicious.
Anyway, it's a Friday.
Yeah.
TGIF.
Not like Friday is different to any other day for us right now. I mean, okay, it is different for me because I'm babysitting. And so Friday marks me not having to go and babysit. But it's like the chillest babysitting job ever. I love it. So I can't really complain. But today's episode is just going to be us talking about visas, because so many people keep asking us, oh, do you have jobs yet? Oh, what's happening? So we're going to...
We love our friends and our family.
Yeah, we do, but we just need to like lay it all out for you so you don't have to ask us again. Because I'm tired. So, we don't have jobs yet. And here is why. Do you want to start or shall I?
I don't know. Doesn't matter. I don't know. I think there's different reasons for each of us.
Yeah, that's true.
About why we don't have jobs.
Yeah. I mean, okay, the main issue is that getting an appointment to get your visa takes a really long time here. So we thought that on the tourism visa, which we came over on, we flew over here and then we get 3 months to hang out on a tourism visa. We thought during those 3 months that would be ample time for us to book appointments for our visas and then get visas and then be able to work for as long as we want to stay. However, the waiting times in Berlin to even get your appointment can be up to 3, 4, sometimes 5 months.
If you can even if there's even any available, because they release them kind of randomly, so you have to go on every single day and refresh it non-stop, just on the off chance. So it's not like you can be all right, I'll book it for December.
Yeah.
Because they don't release them. They just say there's no dates.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll give you a window, right? And we at first didn't think that there was a big time crunch on this. We thought we had the 3 months. We also both thought that our jobs that we would be interviewing for would help us out with visas. There are companies and organizations that are able to kind of expedite the process and get you onto your working visa, and you can skip. I don't know if you can skip the appointment entirely, but
they just know the system, so they know the quickest way to get you to do stuff. They will help you in the process, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so we were kind of under that impression. I thought that a school would be able to help me with that. But yeah, about, I don't know, a bit over a month ago, I went and visited a school just to kind of get my name out there, put in my resume and just say, look, I'm here, I'm looking for work, anything that you've got. And the principal was really lovely and had a chat with me, but she was really realistic with me and said, you need to sort out your own visa before you can commence work with us. So I was like, fuck, okay. I thought that the job would help me with that process, but they're not going to. So that was when the kind of mad researching / trying to book appointments began. And then we worked ourselves into a frenzy, realizing that the wait times just to book an appointment were going to be so long, and our tourism visa was going to finish. We finally were able to get into the booking system. Well, only I was at first, because my visa will be the working holiday visa, which is only for people under 30. And Zach is looking at the job seeker visa or the freelance visa. I was able to get into the booking system, and the earliest appointment I was able to get was June. That is beyond the tourism visa. So then panic sets in of, can we even stay beyond our tourism visa? what the fuck are we supposed to do? We gave ourselves 3 months and that wasn't enough time to get an appointment. It doesn't feel fair that just because we were not able to get an appointment, we have to leave. So that was incredibly stressful to know that we had uprooted our entire lives in Sydney, come over here thinking we had all this time, and to then be told, no, sorry, you don't have time. You have to wait months just to be able to start working.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I explained it in a way where you didn't feel like you needed to add anything.
I mean, I don't know. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we like kind of had thought about doing it beforehand, but I don't know, whatever. We were like busy in Sydney. We were kind of had other things going on, and I think as well, like the idea of like, because I was like, well, I don't know if I'm like 6 months. You get 6 months to be a job seeker, right? So in my brain, I was like, well, if I can line it up, I get a little bit more than 6 months if we do it while we're here, rather than the moment we like land, which could be like useful or whatever. But
True.
Obviously not, and I still haven't been able to get a job seeker appointment. I got a freelance appointment, which is a little bit more complicated. It's a little bit more like you need to have enough money in your bank account. You need to like make a business plan. Although I talked to someone else and they were like, I didn't make a business plan. So I think I just need to like go to it prepared just in case.
Yeah.
And then also be prepared to be like kind of, it depends on the person you get, because there's some people that work there that are really nice. Like when we did our address registration, that person was super nice, wasn't at all bothered by talking English the whole time, was like just really lovely. But then sometimes you can get people that just like kind of are not as nice. So it's like a luck of the draw thing. So obviously I want to go to this appointment with everything I need. But anyway, I also came over with about halfway through an interview process for one job, and actually halfway through in the interview process for 2 jobs. And both of them have knocked me back in very like uncaring ways.
Yeah.
And since then, like, since I've been here, I've applied to like a lot of jobs, but then a lot of jobs just are in German, which means I can't apply to them. So now I'm just like, am I ever going to get a job?
Yeah. Because, yeah, Zach's visa, if he is to go onto the job seeker visa, he has 6 months to find a job, but while he's looking for a job, he's not supposed to be working. So that's, 0 income during that time. I also haven't landed a job yet, although my visa is more relaxed in that I also have to prove that I have savings in my account. But during the working holiday period, which is for a year, I actually don't have to work during that time. So I get the visa like, after they've processed it, which also is not immediate, by the way, just to like digress for a second. You go for your appointment, which, right now is in June, and then they might say, yes, you will get your visa, but then the processing time can be like 6 weeks. 6 to 12, I believe.
But also with yours, you can do any job.
Yeah.
For me, to get a work visa, I have to do a job that is relevant to my degree and to my experience. So I am purely limited to copywriting, which is fine because I want to work in copywriting, because it's like I literally can't get a job in anything else, because I'm not going to go be like, oh, hey, I have 10 years of experience in this, but can you give me a job in this like random thing that I thought I might want to try? But like, yeah, it also means that I could do like a cash in hand job, which is illegal, and I would never do that, work illegally. But I can't like work at like a cafe. I can't work at a bar. I can't like, just like kind of have my like hot European summer doing stuff.
Yeah,
like,
because he's 32.
Yeah, and I'm not meant to be having fun. I'm meant to be like knuckling down on my career apparently, and that's the only option I have.
So that's why we don't have jobs yet.
Or visas.
And
also we can't travel. So we can travel up until our Schengen ends, which is the end of March. But until we get visas after that, we cannot travel.
Yes.
So having the appointment means that we can
Stay.
It's like this weird little grey area.
Yeah.
Where like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, if you have an appointment, you can stay.
Yeah.
But we cannot leave Germany and return to Germany, because if we try to return to Germany, they'll be like, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
So one of the big reasons we came here was travel. But now we're going to be like, in Germany, like, I don't know, Berlin is still a beautiful city and it's still fun, but we're going to be locked into staying here until we sort out our visas.
Yeah, so from the end of March, potentially until June, we have to stay in Berlin.
Potentially until later, because my appointment is the end of June, so really July.
Yeah.
So, and we have already bought tickets for a festival for the end of July, so hopefully we have visas by then. Yeah.
We bought tickets to Orbit Festival, which is in the Netherlands, and it looks very cool. There is, some hopefulness, because Zach found a company that says that they will find you an appointment within a certain amount of time, and you don't have to pay them until they have found you that appointment. So we put in our amount of days that we wanted them to find an appointment during as 60 days, because that was how long we had until the end of our tourism visa. So we've said to them, you need to find us an appointment before the end of March. So technically they have until then to find us that appointment. And, we wanted that because then we can travel, because, we can have the visa and we won't have to be stuck in Berlin until late June. However, they haven't gotten back to us yet, but the reviews on this company said that they do work. So what can we be other than hopeful? Yeah, so that's that. I was like feeling real depresso before this video, but I actually did just get an email from a school, and it's the school that I had visited about a month ago, and they have asked me to come in for an interview. They didn't specify what job.
Janitor. PE teacher.
The cool thing is the school has like 2 campuses, and one of them is like a nature campus. And because I'm desperate, I did say that I would be willing to work on the nature campus, even though it's like really far away and I don't have a car. But, if I get a job, that will be what supports both of us, because we both really want to stay here. Like, we are so like balls deep in love with this city. It just came to my brain. It's the fucking best. Like, sex work is legal here, which is just crazy coming from Australia.
It's the first thing that came off the top of your brain.
Yep. I mean, the one issue is that if you do want to legally be a sex worker here, you have to like have it on your passport that you are a sex worker, which is an issue for people who are from countries where it is still illegal, because then they have this thing on their passport where if they go back to fucking America or Australia, it's like, oh, you're a sex worker, and then they will potentially be like banned from that country. So it means that a lot of sex workers are still working underground here, which is not what that law intended for, but at least they're trying. Like, I feel like that is the difference here, is that Germany really tries to satisfy what its people want.
I mean, yeah, there's also like they also brought in a law around if you're a company that creates products that have single-use plastic, you then have to pay to clean up that single-use plastic, because you have created the single-use plastic, which is like such a it's like almost like it falls into the same logic that you give kindergarten kids, right? Where it's like, but that's the kind of logic that doesn't get applied to companies in countries like Australia, America, like England. It's like, oh no, you're a big company who like is like wrecking our environment, but like, oh my god, we love you so much, we'll give you all the tax breaks in the world.
Yeah.
And there's stuff like, around like renewable energy, and they're
Yes.
like they're trying to basically get all of Germany onto renewable energy like quite soon, I feel
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
It was a really soon target. It was like sooner than Woolworth's target.
Yeah.
Energy back in
I
Australia.
was talking to the mum of the kid that I babysit though. She was actually saying that Berlin and Germany have had the means to be fully renewable for a long time, and that it's the government that have like not put that into motion.
I mean, so is everyone, but I'm sure like Australia could also do that, but they're not even close to even discussing it.
Yeah, I know.
Like, the governments always drag their feet about things, but at least it's, like, on the table here. Like, it's nowhere close to being on the table back home. Like, when,
Even
like,
though climate change is literally fucking everything up. Like, it's so obvious.
And then when South Australia, which has a lot of renewable energy, when they had those, like, blackouts, everyone in the country jumped on them and was like, oh, it's because renewable, what did the sun stop shining? Like, it's just, like, that's not how it fucking works, and you're being an idiot about it. Anyway.
Sorry to get all political, but that's like, we tell people the politics here is a big reason why we moved. And now you get it, okay? You might not agree, but this is why we're here. Because we wanted to feel like the politics aligned with what we believe in. And we already feel it.
Yeah, no, it's nice to... I said this the other day, it's like nice to not feel like we're having to fight against the ideals of our like country's politicians or the policies, or having to constantly be like, this is not something I agree with, this is not something that supports my view of the world. Like, how are we as like our close community gonna like deal with this and gonna try to like, I don't know, steer things towards stuff that we agree with, which it doesn't feel like it's possible because we're not in positions of power. So yeah, it's just nice to not feel like depressed. Yeah,
it's also really nice to feel like queer people are like almost like a majority in Berlin. It's a really wild feeling.
We've gone out like, excuse me, I think maybe like 5 times.
Yeah.
Since we got here, and we've not like, most of the times we haven't explicitly sought stuff out. But even if you do, like, there's just so much to do that it's like, it's not just like, oh, there's like one event or one area or one like strip of a street that you can go to. It's like most places you go to, even if it's not explicitly stated anywhere in like the idea of what this event is, it's like it's built into it.
It feels like queerness and protecting queer people is built into the nightlife here, which is so far away from the experience of going out in regular nightlife spaces in Sydney. The queer spaces in Sydney are so few, and you know, there are a few incredible ones, and I was sad to leave those behind. But going out in Sydney, generally speaking, is a horrific experience if you are not a man. Or it's a horrific experience if you are not straight.
You have to like pick your places.
Yeah.
And you have to do your research, and you have to expect to be, I don't know, you have to plan things to like maintain your safety.
I think it's also quite difficult for spaces in Sydney to maintain that safe feeling, because, you know, there are not a lot of queer spaces. There are a few queer events that try really hard, but at the end of the day, I'm not sure how easy it is to refuse someone just because you think that they might not be a safe person. Whereas here, I don't know, it kind of seems part of the like nightlife that there are strict door policies, and I am kind of feeling more and more like those strict door policies are to protect marginalized people. So I'm not mad about it. Yeah. Speaking of strict door policies, we got into Berghain.
Oh yeah, I don't think
we haven't spoken about that.
It was great.
It was so...
I felt very cool.
It was so next level. The sound system in there is pristine. Yeah. Like the space itself, to be fair, only Panorama Bar was open the night that we went. Berghain, the big floor, wasn't open, so we obviously need to go back to check that out too. But the panorama bar like floor was really cool. I think that I was ready to have my brain like explode over the space itself. Maybe Bergheim will have more to like explode your brain over, but
Maybe.
We've also been to Tresor, which is also a really big warehouse venue that used to be a power plant, and they've fitted it out really cool. And I think that also has that feeling of like, this is a massive cool place.
I think that, yeah, so like, I think that the thing that I liked about Tresor was that it felt like the equivalent of like, you know, like an outdoor doof where there's like things to explore and places to go, and you kind of feel like a little bit like an adventurer. But they've taken that and put it into like an indoor space.
Yeah.
Where you could like go around and you're like, what am I gonna like discover like down this like little hallway? Like it's like, it felt like an escape room as well. Like in that kind of like, I don't know, or like a video game. Like you're just like, oh yeah, like what's gonna be here? Like, oh cool, there's that. And then like you like, there's so many like, it's like a little maze.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if all of the areas in Bergheim are open, it would be more like that. Whereas Panorama Bar is just like kind of this one area, which is like fine.
Still, I mean, I think it's way better than fine. Like, there was obviously the dance floor area with the DJ decks, and the DJ decks are very immersed in the crowd, which I really liked. Tresor, the DJ decks were kind of a little bit back from the crowd and like protected, so you can't get that like immersion with the DJs, which I like froth. And Panorama Bar also has like a upstairs area where there's like couches and there's a little balcony, so you can like look over everybody as well, which was cool. And there's smoking areas, and there's like a really cold bit that you can go to downstairs.
Yeah, I called it the fridge.
Yeah.
So it felt like walking into a cool room at work.
Yeah. Also because it was freezing.
I mean, yeah,
outside.
that's obviously.
Yeah. But I'm really keen to go on a night where both the stages are open, because I think it will naturally have more of that vibe of like, ooh, where am I going to end up next?
They're also like, they're very far apart.
Yeah.
Because it's like that, it's like 3 or 4 stories.
Yeah, it's a massive building.
So, yeah, we were talking to someone else who was like talking about how they go there a lot, but like really don't like going with people who like want to bounce, because they do just end up like walking up and down the stairs most of the time. And I was like, I understand that.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know, I also kind of like doing that as well.
Yeah, I think it really depends on like what's playing at both stages. Like at Tresor, the upstairs stage, I can't remember the name of it right now, the Globus stage, had more of like a very mixed genre vibe, whereas the downstairs, like real dungeony stage had more of like a heavy techno vibe. I kind of wonder if Bergheim will be similar. But, you know, I get so much out of both on a night out. Like I really like to start off with like, you know, more melodic stuff, and then as the night goes on, I'm like, yeah, give me my like heavy thumping techno, please.
I also, yeah, I think I just like exploring like areas.
Me too.
I think it's just fun. Like we went to, do you remember what the place we went to last weekend was called?
Aiden?
Oh yeah, that's right. It's like an AE that's like...
Yeah, but then the actual one that we went to was part of that whole building, but it was called Eva, I think. And really cool venue again. It had these like beautiful arch windows. There was like a little beer garden area that you could go out into. And we went to this amazing event called Body Language, which our friend Amanda invited us to, who lives here. Super cool. The event and Amanda.
Like thinking about the layout now, if you had a building like that in Australia, it would be a pub. Yeah. It has like you walk in, there's like a big downstairs area with, it almost like had like a little dance pit because you like step down into it. But like, I would picture in Sydney that would be carpeted. You'd have a shit ton of tables. Yeah. And that would be kind of it. And then like the upstairs
probably
has like
Maryvale owned.
Yeah, the upstairs has a few little rooms. You'd get like a pool table and then like a bunch more tables, and like that would be it. And you'd have the outside area. And it would just be like the most boring spot.
It's so nice that so many venues here are dedicated to like dancing and music, because most like, you know, older buildings in Sydney, like pubs, so quick to just like jump on that
Yeah.
Maryvale generic pub bandwagon.
Yeah. So Carla and Scotty sent me a video where it was talking about, it was like a stand-up comedian. So the stand-up comedian was basically saying, oh yeah, you know, people always like diss out white people for like not being able to dance. So then Germans created techno, a genre that you cannot dance to.
Yeah.
So they were like, oh yeah, because white people just like move the goalposts.
Yeah.
Well, look at this.
I find this really interesting because yes, like heavy techno where it's like really high tempo and just like beats. Yeah, you can't get down to it. But I think Berlin has really expanded beyond techno, and it's just got this incredible just general electronic music scene. And I think that depending on where you go and the event that you go to, the DJs that they get will really traverse like multiple genres. Like we went to an event, Room for Resistance at Tresor, and it was a Flinter event, which is female lesbians, intersex, non-binary, trans, and I can't remember if it's agender or asexual. And they had a DJ there, Juba, I think is her name, Juba. We'll have to check that. She was like insane. Like the amount of genres she had into her set. Like, yes, you were doing like the techno bop a little bit of the time, but then you were like getting down and dirty and like shaking your ass, which for my back, it's really important for me to have different genres to dance to so that I can like move my back in different ways. So I really appreciated that.
Yeah, but I feel like maybe the DJ before that was like much more straight techno.
Yeah.
So it's just everyone like standing and like bopping. Where you're like, ah, yes, I understand where the beat is. But then, when she played, there was this like group of like South Americans, I think, near us, who got very excited.
Yeah.
Because she started playing like Latino beats. Or what do you like?
Maybe like
genre. It's like
Amapiano. I'm trying to think of the other one right now, but it's evading me.
It's like music from that area where it's like real, like it's got a very certain feel to it, which like you really
Afrobeats. Thank you.
Where you, I don't know if it was Afrobeats. I think it's slightly different. But your body like naturally just like fucking dances to it.
Yeah.
Because it's like almost like it takes over your body and just like moves you in a certain way.
Yeah.
Which is really, really fun. And I think that's the only time I've actually heard that type of music here for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
Which is really fun. And I really enjoy it.
Yeah. And the music at Body Language was like really cool too. It almost had like a new age disco feel to it, which I really didn't know that I needed. And that was really fun as well. So just the nightlife here is amazing and we don't want to leave. Also, the people are really cool. But now you know why we don't have jobs, why we don't have visas, and why we're running out of money. And it's why we keep finding ourselves in like depressive holes every now and again, because we're in this insane city. And sure, going out is cheaper than Sydney, and sure, renting is cheaper than Sydney, but it's still really fucking expensive if you don't have a job. So we're still like struggling financially right now because we don't have any income.
I mean, I wouldn't say that we're struggling financially. I would say that we are spending our savings financially, but that we are spending each.
Yes. Which is
at
depressing.
A much, no, I wasn't finished. We're spending our savings at a much slower rate than we would in Sydney.
Yes.
Like excessively slower.
Yeah.
So I just feel like if we were in Sydney, I would be way more stressed than being here and like working through our savings, because like some days we literally spend like 10 euros a day. Yeah. Which is like $15. And like and we still eat like every meal.
Yeah.
So, and obviously that's not every day.
Given my history, I can't skip meals.
Given my hunger, I can't skip meals. But like, you know, it's like that wouldn't be feasible in Sydney. Like, and so obviously that's not every day is like 10 euros a day, but it's even the fact that it's like some days is 10 euros a day is still like Great.
Yeah, we were talking to our friend Louisa about events and the price of events in Sydney versus here. We saw LSD XOXO at Panorama Bar for €20, which is like, what, $30 Australian. LSD is coming to Australia for World Pride, and the tickets to his show are over $100. So it just, like, you should be able to go out and experience culture and not have to, like, saw your arm off for it. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up now. I think we've got it all out, like our current position, what we're waiting for. Oh, only other thing is that we're going to London next week because I didn't want to get really bad FOMO about everyone partying for World Pride in Sydney. So I was like, let's just fuck off.
And like we have to try and do like at least a little bit of travel before we're stuck here.
Yes.
For who knows how long.
Yeah. And our friend Hannah is over there at the moment. She's from London as well. And so we're going to hang out with her, which is super exciting. We're sharing an Airbnb for the first time.
Because it was so like insanely expensive.
Yes.
That we're like, all right, I guess we'll just stay in these people's spare room.
Yeah, it's part of the travel experience.
But it was still €250 for 3 nights.
Yeah.
And we're like sharing an apartment.
Yeah. It's
so that's
still not like massively cheap.
For like a week, that would be like €500.
Yeah.
And we're sharing with 2 other people.
Yeah.
Which is like, what is wrong with London? Is my question.
Mm-hmm. What isn't? I think there's more. So yeah, so have fun at World Pride. I don't hate you. I hope you have an amazing time. And I do look forward to hearing about it.
Okay. Yeah, same but more genuine.
I believe it. Bye. Tschüss.
Tschüss.